The Millionaire'S kids never listened until the housekeeper revealed a devastating secret. A storm rolled through the mansion that night, whipping up a fierce wind that rattled the windows and seemed to shake the very foundation. Inside, laughter echoed through the grand halls, but it was hollow, like a ghost haunting a once vibrant home. The Millionaire's children, 3 spoiled brats cloaked in the glow of their father's money, paid no mind to the crashing thunder outside. They reveled in their indulgence, believing they could bend the world to their will until the old housekeeper, Martha, gathered the courage to face them. She had worked for the family for decades and watched the kids grow into incorrigible adults, brimming with entitlement and devoid of respect. But that night, as lightning danced across the sky, she stood there a frail figure, her wild hair framing a face lined with the weight of untold stories. She was tired, carrying a secret that had festered for years like an untreated wound. As she cleared her throat, the atmosphere thickened with anticipation. The glimmer of a mysterious truth hovered in the air, and silence replaced the laughter, carrying with it a shiver of dread. "What do you want, Martha?" The eldest sneered, but he couldn't mask the flicker of unease in his eyes. Was it fear? Doubt? She took a deep breath, her heart racing, every thump echoing like a war drum. "You kids think money can buy everything. You don't even know the truth about your mother," she began, her voice trembling but steady. The kids rolled their eyes, but a rattle of thunder punctuated her words, pressing them into stillness. What could she possibly reveal that would shake their unshakable world? Just then, Martha dug into her coat pocket and pulled out an old, weathered locket. The silver shimmered amidst the flickering lights. This belonged to her. "But there's something in here you need to see, something about your family history that's been buried." Gasps filled the room. Their interest had been piqued. The tension crackled like the storm outside, wrapping around them like a tight coil. "Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect." Martha continued, her voice barely above a whisper. "There's a reason your mother left the way she did, a reason for the silence that surrounded her. You'll unravel everything if you just open this locket." She held it out, but the kids were frozen as if that small piece of jewelry was haunted, pulsating with hidden darkness. What secrets did it carry? What truths would it unveil? They exchanged glances, uncertainty casting shadows on their arrogance. As raindrops battered against glass panes, the energy shifted. The once boisterous laughter was replaced with an eerie quiet, a collective breath held in the face of the unknown. The storm roared outside, mirroring the tempest brewing in the room. What lay ahead? All eyes were fixed on Martha, anticipation bubbling into tension as she whispered, "Are you brave enough to discover what really happened?" And in that moment, with the house trembling under nature's fury, the stage was set. What would they uncover if they dared to know? The room was thick with suspense, as if the air itself was charged with electricity. Martha held the locket like a grenade, ready to explode with truth. The children's eyes widened, caught between curiosity and fear, their confidence evaporating like mist under the storm's roar. "Open it," the middle child said, his voice a muted whisper, betraying the bravado he had clung to just moments before. He cast a fleeting glance at the door, as if the storm outside held more appeal than the secret within the locket. But before anyone could act, the eldest stepped forward. "No. Let us hear her out first," he challenged, though his voice held a tremor. What could possibly be so important? Martha lifted her chin, emboldened by a mix of anger and desperation. "Your mother was not just a trophy of wealth and status. She was a woman tangled in a web of pain and betrayal. This locket contains more than just memories. It contains the key to who she truly was." As she spoke, the howling wind seemed to tap into the deepest corners of their fears. Martha took a step closer and continued, "Your mother ran from something terrible, something that can change the way you see your entire life." The eldest laughed harshly, attempting to mask his unease, but it sounded hollow against the backdrop of the storm. "Enough of your theatrics," he said. "Just open it, and show us what's so special." Martha's fingers trembled, but she slid the locket open to reveal a faded photograph, a young woman with bright, hopeful eyes, someone they didn't recognize. Next to her was another figure, a shadowy silhouette, an unfamiliar man with dark features. The resemblance was uncanny. Their faces dropped, shock etching into their expressions. "Who is that?" the youngest stammered, a lump forming in his throat. "This man." She paused, emotion choking her throat. "Is your biological father?" The words hit them like a phantom punch. Their mouths hung open but no sound came out. Their mother had never spoken of a man. She had never even mentioned anything beyond their jet-setting lifestyle, luxurious parties, and the endless opulence of their daily lives. "You're lying!" the eldest shouted. A desperate denial masked his fear. He stepped back, like the walls themselves were closing in. "No," Martha insisted, her voice steady for the first time in years. "I've kept this secret to protect you from the truth because with it comes something darker. Your mother was forced to leave him for your father's wealth. She believed it was for the best, but your real history is tainted by the past she tried to escape." The room spun. The implications of her words suffocated them like the thickening storm outside. How could their mother have lived a life shattered by deceit? Their validation of worth nestled in money and status had suddenly become a flimsy facade robbed of its glamour. "Wait," the middle child's eyes sharpened, "so, he could come for us? We could be in danger?" Martha shook her head. "It's more than that. There's another locket, hidden away, that holds the key to unlocking this story, one that could endanger everything you've known. You need to choose now, face the past or remain lost in a lie." As thunder clapped, it seemed to echo their turmoil. Rage and panic filled the room, and the kids recoiled from the truth, their earlier bravado crumbling like the fragile structures outside. "Let us find it," the youngest urged, adrenaline fueling him. "We need to know." But the eldest was torn, caught between a desire for truth and the suffocating grip of fear. "Do you really want to open that door?" Martha asked, her eyes piercing their hearts. "No!" he shouted, but his voice cracked like glass, exposing his doubt. Suddenly, the power flickered. Shadows danced on the walls, glowing with an eerie luminescence. Outside, lightning struck, illuminating the house and revealing every hidden corner of their lives they wished to forget. With the storm amplifying around them, each moment stretched painfully into the next. The next decision could change everything, and beneath the storm as furious fury, they stood at the precipice of an unimaginable revelation. Would they summon the courage to confront their family's past? Or would they resist the truth, shackled by fear? As they stood there, the air charged with tension, one thing became crystal clear: the time for hiding was over. The storm howled above them, and as silence fell, the weight of their destiny hung in the balance. What awaited them on the other side of revelation? The moment lingered, heavy and precarious. The tempest raged outside, wind howling like a pack of wolves, echoing their rising fears within. Each face mirrored a torrent of emotions: shock, anger, confusion, but none could mask the desperation gnawing at their hearts. "Okay, let us find this locket," the youngest insisted, clutching his fists. "Whatever it is, we can't just leave it hidden. Are you insane?" The eldest snapped back, still recovering from the shock of discovery. "Do you even understand what this means? What if he is dangerous? What if that part of our lives is just as chaotic as the storm outside?" Martha stepped closer, her voice a low urgency. "Trust me. The other locket can protect you, but only if you're willing to face what lies ahead. You have to dig deeper." There was hesitation. The room pulsed with energy, the air feeling thick and electric, mirroring the chaos of the storm outside. For a brief moment, they stood paralyzed, caught between their fear of the unknown and the stark truth that lay before them. The middle child, shaking off the paralyzing dread, broke the silence. "Okay then," let's do it. We must know. We deserve the truth. The eldest sighed, his internal conflict palpable. Fine. But I swear, if this goes sideways, Martha, it's on you. His words hung heavy, a thick rope binding him to guilt before they even started. Let us start looking in her keepsakes, the youngest suggested. His voice rang with a mix of determination and childish naivety. Martha turned, leading them down the dimly lit corridor. Old photographs lined the walls, frozen smiles from an era they had believed was perfect. But now, every picture felt like a mask hiding something dark and sinister. As they entered the room that had once belonged to their mother, the atmosphere shifted once again. The walls, adorned with memories of laughter and luxury, felt now like a prison where echoes of truth could be heard drumming against the very foundations. Martha opened drawers, rummaging through silk scarves and perfume bottles, each touch igniting an electric shock of hesitance. What are we even looking for? The eldest questioned, frustration seeping through. Martha paused, her hands clutching a velvet-lined box, adorned with the same intricate carvings as the locket. This, perhaps? Her heart raced. The children leaned in closer, shadows dancing over their wide eyes as Martha lifted the lid. Inside was another locket, identical in shape, but even older, its surface marred by time. Open it! The youngest urged, his voice barely a whisper amidst the storm's fury. With deep reluctance, Martha undid the clasp. The hinges creaked like a mourning sigh. Inside, they found another photograph, this time not a single figure but a collection of faces, their resemblance unmistakable. What is this? Is it our family? The middle child stepped back in disbelief, scanning each face with rapid breaths. The eldest furrowed his brow, realizing the enormity of the discovery. These people. They looked just like us. A wave of recognition washed over them before fear took hold once more. Are they? His voice trailed off, as though the truth would reveal itself in the storm. No! Martha interjected, sensing the shift in the room. This is not just family. These are the people your mother escaped from. Thunder rumbled overhead, punctuating her words. The photograph seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy, mirroring their own heartbeat. It was the tangled anger of their lineage laid bare. Suddenly, an ominous knock resonated through the house, vibrating the walls. The children jumped, faces pale as if someone had turned their nightmares into reality. What was that? The youngest gasped, eyes darting toward the door. Martha held her breath. It's nothing, or perhaps it's everything. In a world suddenly becoming shrouded in both darkness and revelation, they hovered on the edge of confrontation. What awaited them on the other side of that door? As they exchanged fearful glances, one thing became startlingly clear: nothing could prepare them for the storm that was about to break loose within their lives, and from beyond the door. The knock echoed again, a sharp interruption that seemed to demand their attention. The eldest froze, eyes locked on the heavy oak door as if it held the secrets of the universe behind its frame. The youngest swallowed hard, a lump solidifying in his throat, and even the bold middle child hesitated, doubt clouding the determination he had just voiced. Should we answer it? The middle child whispered, fear lacing each syllable. The air around them felt thick, almost suffocating. Martha shook her head, her resolve hardening like iron. No. We have to face this. Whatever's behind that door might be linked to everything we've discovered tonight. Her voice was firm, but even she felt a tremor beneath the surface. What if the storm carried not only the rain but the ghosts of their family's past? As if on cue, the knocking escalated again, heavy and insistent, a guttural reminder that time was running out. It felt like a countdown. Maybe we should just leave? The youngest suggested, a hint of desperation creeping into his tone. His innocence was slowly being chipped away by echoes of familial trauma and mounting trepidation. No! The eldest snapped, masking his own fear with anger. This is our chance to confront whatever it is that's haunted us. He placed his hand on the locket they discovered, as if drawing strength from its presence. Together, Martha urged. We'll face it together. With hearts thundering, they stepped towards the door, each pulse amplified by the storm raging outside. Just as the eldest reached for the handle, the knock changed, now a frantic pounding that resonated through their bones. "Who's there?" he shouted, though his voice betrayed a quaver of uncertainty. Silence fell heavy like the air before a storm, engulfing the room. Then, a voice broke through, low and gravelly, but oddly familiar. "Open up! I know you're in there. I need to talk." "Martha?" the middle child breathed, his eyes widening. "Is that yes? It's him," she gasped, realization washing over her face like a cold wave. "It's Michael." All those years of toiling behind the shadows of wealth and privilege had led to this moment. Michael, the man who had once served their family, the protector and, perhaps, the last connection to the truths that had been suppressed for so long. Crackles of thunder punctuated her words as they exchanged uneasy glances. "What if he's not coming for us?" the eldest worried, heart thumping wildly. "What if he's here to hurt us? We can't leave him out there." "We need answers," Martha insisted, voice steadying with a resolve that made the others rally behind her. With a shared nod, a silent agreement that shattered the boundaries of fear, they unlocked the door, the creak echoing ominously. The door swung open. Rain poured in like a curtain, and there stood Michael, drenched and wild-eyed, his gaze frantically scanning the room. "You have to listen to me. It's worse than you think. It's not just your family, it's all of us." The words fell heavy, thick with weight, sending a chill rippling through the room. Martha felt a rush of dread, the storm outside mingling with the storm inside her as realization began to dawn. What had they uncovered? Before anyone could respond, another knock, more persistent this time, rattled the door, cutting through the tension. They paused, fear pinching the air even tighter as Martha's heart raced. "Who else is out there?" the youngest asked, barely above a whisper. Before she could answer, Michael stepped in, face grave. "They're coming for the locket, and for all of you." The oppressive air thickened, the reality of their lineage and its ties to danger spinning in dizzying circles around them. What shadows loomed at their doorstep? As they looked at each other, the threads of fate unspooled. A sense of urgency pushed them forward. The truth they sought was here, but at what cost? They had opened a Pandora's box, and now, with a storm brewing just outside, the true chaos was only just beginning. What further horrors awaited them on the other side of this revelation? The moment was electric, charged with fear and uncertainty. Michael stepped closer, drenched but resolute, his eyes wide with urgency. The rain whipped around them, splattering against the floor like a drumroll announcing a catastrophe. "What do you mean they're coming for you?" the middle child demanded, his voice wavering under the weight of impending doom. The flickering candles cast uneasy shadows, dancing in rhythm with his rising panic. "There are forces at play," Michael said, brushing water from his face hastily. "I thought I could protect you. I kept the truth hidden for too long, hoping you could escape it. But it's here now, and it wants that locket." Martha's heart raced. "What truth? What locket?" Her voice almost cracked as she felt the pressure of the moment closing in. She glanced down, the locket around her neck suddenly feeling like a physical weight, its secrets pressing down on her. The eldest stepped forward, his hands clenched into fists. "You need to explain yourself, Michael. We can't just stand here drowning in uncertainty while something terrible could be in the shadows, waiting for us." Michael's gaze flickered to the door, as though sensing something lurking just on the other side. "You don't understand. It's not just your family's legacy. It goes deeper. Darker. There are people hunters looking to reclaim their power, and that locket is the key." "What power?" the youngest asked, his voice trembling like a leaf caught in the wind. "Not a power you can imagine," Michael exclaimed, taking a step back as if he could shield himself from the intensity of his own words. "It's connected to your ancestry, wealth built on the backs of suffering, brokering deals with forces that shouldn't be toyed with. They want what's theirs, and they'll take down anyone in their path." The revelation struck like a bolt of lightning, illuminating their past through a shroud of betrayal. Silent moments passed, the air now heavy with dread. The youngest looked at Martha, his gaze pleading for reassurance. Why did you come back now? Martha pressed, desperation creeping into her voice. Why didn't you warn us before? I thought severing ties could save you. But timing isn't on our side anymore. You must understand, once they get wind of the locket, they won't hesitate. Another knock shattered the tension, each knock faster and more frantic than before. The wind howled, matching the frantic rhythm, a chorus of chaos outside. Fear gripped their hearts, and they exchanged glances fraught with unspoken questions. Who's out there? The eldest shouted, voice breaking. But he knew the answer. They both felt it, a presence pressing against the threshold, something ancient and menacing. Michael's face paled. They're here! He turned quickly, scanning the room as if expecting shadows to materialize in the corners. You must hide the locket. Keep it safe. Hide it. From who? Martha cried, just as the door rattled with force, sending tremors through them. Before she could react, the door began to splinter, a raw, guttural sound cutting through the chaos. The pounding grew louder, a chant of urgency and malevolence. We need to make a decision now, Michael shouted, urgency slicing through the air. Will we face whatever's out there, or will we succumb to what's been hidden from us? With chaos swirling in the halls and hearts racing, the siblings shifted closer to the door, determination hardening their resolve. But as the wood splintered further and the air grew colder, another realization gripped Martha. Facing the truth might be less frightening than what awaited on the other side. And then the door burst open. What materialized through the threshold was not merely a person but a force that sent chills through their bones, a harbinger of their past catching up to them. Martha felt her breath hitch. Who or what had they just unleashed into their lives? As the silhouette stepped forward, revealing hazel eyes locked onto hers, one thought screamed through the cacophony: this was only the beginning. What dark secrets lay within the very walls they had called home? Martha's heart pounded as the silhouette solidified, light from the storm revealing sporadic features. It was a woman, tall and wrapped in shadows, with hair like tangled vines. The haunts of her expression spoke of time lost, pain endured. Who are you? Michael demanded, stepping forward to shield his siblings. The indignant bravado in his voice fell flat, swallowed by the storm. Without a hint of hesitation, the woman replied, I am Eloise. I've come for the locket, and I hold information that could turn your world upside down. The name sent a jolt through Martha. Eloise. The name echoed in her mind like an old record playing in a forgotten room. You. I've heard that name before, she stammered. Eloise's eyes narrowed, shimmering with an intensity that cut through the chaos. Your family's history is tangled in a web of deceit. They believed that cutting ties would erase their past, but it never truly left, did it? Suddenly, the rain grew louder, almost drowning out her voice. Each droplet felt like a reminder of their stagnant lives, filled with secrets buried deep. What do you know? Martha pushed, her curiosity mingling with anxiety. The locket is your inheritance, a vessel containing enchantments your ancestors invoked to gain wealth and power. But they didn't count on the repercussions, Eloise said, her voice like tempered steel. Those forces you've hidden from now want retribution. What are you talking about? Michael retorted, the resolve in his stance faltering as his fear began to resurface. You think our family owes anyone anything? Eloise sighed. Your privilege doesn't grant you immunity. The hunters seek justice for the past crimes of your bloodline. They will stop at nothing to retrieve what rightfully belongs to them. Martha felt the familiar weight of the locket against her chest, the once precious ornament now a ticking time bomb. What is it exactly that they want from us? The locket is a key, she declared, her voice sharp as a whip. A key to unlock power that can either protect or destroy. Giving it to them will initiate a cycle of power you can't begin to fathom. But keeping it could provoke wrath you've never known. The eldest sibling turned pale, just a shade whiter than the cold, gusting wind outside. We need to get rid of it, whatever this thing is. We need to run. No! Martha snapped back. The fire of defiance ignited in her chest. If this is true, throwing it away could mean losing everything we never knew we had. We can't just turn our backs without knowing. The sound of rain swished against the windows, an ominous whisper weaving through the air. The room felt like it was closing in, shadows lengthening, with every heartbeat echoing uncertainty. Eloise's expression softened just a fraction. Your past will come to claim you, whether you face it or not. You must decide where your loyalty lies. Do you defend your family or protect your own futures? Michael looked toward his siblings, a mix of fear and determination battling in his gray-blue eyes. We stand together, whatever comes next. Would you choose the truth over the comfort of ignorance? Eloise asked, her words dripping with urgency. She moved closer, invading their personal space, eyes boring into Martha's. Because if you don't uncover the truth soon, they will hunt you down, grasping for blood and power, and you will lose more than just the locket. A sharp wind whipped through the doorway, extinguishing the candles and plunging them into darkness. Their breaths quickened, panic gnawing at the edges of sanity. In the stillness, the faintest whispers echoed around them, warnings from the past, promises of chaos. And in that chilling moment, reality shattered. Was it too late to take the path of truth, or were they already trapped in pursuit of a destiny long sown? Martha's thoughts raced, but one thought echoed fiercely in her mind: what if revealing the truth meant uncovering a horror even deeper than she had imagined? As the darkness pressed in, the urgency clawed at the edges of their minds. What choice would they make, and at what cost? The air crackled with tension, suffocating in the enveloping darkness. Martha's breath came in shallow gasps as her heart raced, feeling the weight of the locket against her chest, a tangible reminder of everything that hung in the balance. Michael's voice broke the silence, shaky but resolute. Eloise? What exactly are the hunters like? What should we expect? Eloise glanced at the bolted door, her expression grim. Powerful. Ruthless. They'll come for the locket and for you. They won't stop until they've unspooled your family's secrets. Then we must prepare, Martha said, her voice now steadying. They had to take control, to fight back instead of running blindly. Tell us more. What are their weaknesses? Eloise hesitated, then took a step closer, her semblance both fragile and fierce. They thrive on fear. The dark energy your family cultivated has turned into a beacon for them. Know this: the locket binds both your past and present. It gives you the ability to wield or reject the power it holds. Michael frowned, confusion etched across his features. Reject it? How? Why would we even want to do that? Eloise's gaze pierced through the dark. Because the power comes at a cost. It isn't an empire you want to build on blood. Those who used it before many lost themselves in the pursuit of greed. Some say they became monsters. A sudden crash echoed through the storm, causing Martha to jump. The window rattled violently, as if protesting their revelations. Outside, shadows danced under the erratic streetlights, swirling like vengeful spirits eager to invade their home. What if that's not us? Michael shot back. Maybe we could be different, do good with what was established. Good intentions don't shield you from harm, Eloise replied sharply, her voice rising above the storm. You're facing consequences that transcend your hopes. The hunters aren't discerning, they want retribution, and you're the next generation of the name they seek. Martha stepped forward, wrestling with a flood of conflicting emotions. The idea of fighting back versus simply surviving played out in her mind like a relentless battle. We have to find out what binds them to us. We have to break any thread that ties our family to their suffering. A swirl of static electricity filled the air as Eloise nodded slowly, her eyes softening for a moment. You're braver than I expected. But to untangle the web, you must face the truth. You'll have to go to the heart of their darkness. The old estate, the one you've avoided. There lies the history they want, and the answers you need. A pulse of dread danced through Martha's veins, chilling her bones. The old estate? It was the stuff of family legends, long since abandoned places where even whispers trembled. But it's dangerous. Eloise stepped back, allowing space for the weight of her words to land. It's where your family's darkest truths dwell. You may unearth what they want from you or expose your path to reclaim your legacy. Either way, You must decide soon. Time is running out. Outside, a loud thud echoed as the wind surged, rattling branches against the house like skeletal hands. Silent, desperate pleas seemed to seep through the gaps in the walls. What if we don't make it back? Michael asked, his voice barely a whisper. What if the estate is our doom? Martha felt the lump in her throat swell. We can't think like that. We have to act. We cannot allow the past to dictate our future. Their eyes met, three resolute faces lit by the flash of lightning that illuminated the room momentarily, creating shadows that loomed over them like ominous harbingers of fate. As the echoes of past horrors threatened to engulf them, Martha's determination resurfaced. Then we go to the estate. Together. Eloise's eyes flickered with something akin to respect. Prepare for what you may discover. The truth, in all its forms, can be horrifying. Just then, the door slammed open with a deafening creak, a cold gust sweeping through like a harbinger of what was to come. And there, standing in the threshold, silhouettes emerged, each an unknown shadow, poised with a hunger for something lost. Martha's heart raced anew, realization dawning. This confrontation was inevitable. The storm had merely been the prelude to what lay ahead, what truths would become unleashed in the clash between past and present. The figures in the doorway shifted, their outlines barely visible against the flood of lightning that illuminated the hallway behind them. Martha's breath caught, each heartbeat a thunderous drum in her ears. The storm outside raged on, but the storm within her was far more chaotic. Eloise, though frightened, stepped confidently in front of Michael and Martha, an unwavering shield. "Stay behind me," she commanded, though her voice trembled slightly. One silhouette emerged from the shadows, a man with piercing eyes that glinted like shards of glass. He stepped forward, and with each stride, a chill crept into the room. "We've come for what belongs to us," he said, the words dripping with an unsettling calm. Martha's instinct screamed to retreat. "Who are you?" she demanded, though her voice quivered. His laughter sent shivers through her, low and sinister. "You don't recognize us? You're the ones meddling where you shouldn't be." He gestured dismissively toward the locket, still tucked against her chest. "That piece of jewelry is the key to a past you've long ignored." A rush of courage sparked inside Martha. "We want nothing to do with you or whatever darkness you've tied to our family." "But that's where you're wrong," another figure chimed in, stepping beside the first, a woman with a cascading mane of hair and cruel lips. "You are already tied to it. Those threads are woven through your blood, your history. Haven't you felt it? The whispers?" Michael stiffened next to Martha, his expression revealing his fear. "What has happened to our family? Why are you here?" The man leaned closer, eyes narrowing as if probing into their very souls. "Your family made choices to harness a power meant for the forsaken. Those hunters you fear, they're just a part of it. But we are the true legacy." Eloise interrupted, her voice steady despite the brewing chaos. "Enough. You think fear makes you strong. You're wrong. It drains you, consumes you. These children are stronger than you realize. They carry the potential to overcome." The man's lips twisted into a mocking smirk. "And what do you think they'll do? Fight back? You underestimate the darkness within them, within all of you." Suddenly, the woman lunged forward, her hands outstretched like claws. Martha's instincts kicked in, and she pushed Michael back, putting herself between him and the encroaching threat. The moment felt frozen in time, an unbearable silence settling heavily upon them. With an instinctive flare of desperation, Martha gripped the locket tightly, summoning whatever power it promised. The air around her pulsed with energy, vibrant and electric, but laced with trepidation. "You'll regret underestimating us." Lightning cracked outside, striking the ground nearby, illuminating the faces of their adversaries with a sharp flash. For a fleeting moment, uncertainty flickered in the eyes of the intruders, but it vanished quickly, replaced by cold resolve. The wind howled, a wailing specter besieging the estate as if carrying the cries of the past home for reckoning. "Do you think this pathetic trinket can protect you?" The man sneered, even as their expressions shifted from confidence to something darker. "You have no idea what you're inviting." "Martha, what now?" Michael turned to her, panic infusing his voice. "We hold our ground," she declared, adrenaline surging. "We fight together, whatever the cost." But just as she steadied herself, the house began to shake violently, the walls vibrating as if the very structure was screaming. Shadows peeked from every corner, whispering secrets lost in time. The man stepped back, a flicker of alarm flashing across his face before it steadied into anger. "You stupid children!" he snarled. "Run. It's your only chance. The awakening has begun." With that, the room erupted into chaos as shadows lunged at them, blurring the line between the living and the unknown. Martha's pulse thundered in her ears. This was at the moment of confrontation. Would they contain the darkness, or would it consume them whole? She turned to Eloise, who was bracing herself for an imminent blow. Courage set her jaw. "You know what they want," Martha shouted over the chaos. "Tell us how to stop them." But before Eloise could respond, a blinding light erupted, engulfing the room. And then silence. What lay beyond that veil of luminosity? Freedom or doom? The silence was suffocating, a thick blanket that stifled every breath. Yet, it wasn't just quiet, there was an oppressive weight, as if the air itself had substance. Martha could feel the pulse of something ancient and powerful thrumming just beyond the light. "What just happened?" Michael's shaky voice broke through the stillness, but it felt swallowed by the vastness surrounding them. A soft glow began to spread, revealing their surroundings once more. The menacing figures had vanished, dissolving into the light as though they were mere mirages. But that didn't erase the danger. It lingered in the very fabric of the room, an invisible predator stalking its prey. Eloise's eyes were wide, a mixture of relief and confusion washing over her. I don't understand," she stammered, wrapping her arms around herself as if to ward off the chill. "Where did they go?" "I don't know," Martha breathed, shaking her head as she clutched the locket. It felt warm against her skin, pulsating gently as if it was aware of their fear. "But we can't stay here. We need to figure out what they want." Suddenly, the walls groaned, reverberating with a deep, resonant note. The house felt alive, its very structure shifting, bending like a living organism trying to expel them. Shadows crawled along the edges, flickering like whispers. "Look!" Michael pointed toward the flickering shadows that had transformed. They danced and formed shapes, ethereal faces emerging from the walls. Martha's heart raced. These weren't just shadows, they were echoes of lives once lived within these walls, trapped souls maybe. "We need to get out," she insisted, taking Michael's hand. "Now!" They rushed through the room, eyes darting to every corner, every flicker of movement. Each step felt like traversing a nightmare, the shadows growling low, taunting them. It was as if the house was trying to tell them something, to warn them. "Wait!" Eloise stopped suddenly, her gaze fixed on a part of the wall. "A door? Or was it just a trick of the light? Over there!" They hurried toward the damp wall, where a faint line marked what definitely looked like a door. Michael pressed his palm against it, trembling. "What if it leads to death?" Martha cut in softly. "Or maybe answers." Determined, they pushed together and the door creaked open, revealing a narrow staircase spiraling downward into darkness. The pungent smell of damp earth hit them. "Do we go down?" Eloise asked, her voice trembling. "It's better than staying here," Martha said, willing her legs to move forward. They descended slowly, the air growing colder, heavier with each step. The darkness was thick and tangible and alive. Martha felt the locket pulse at her chest, almost urging her onwards. They reached the bottom, the narrow passage opening into a vast underground chamber, its walls adorned with strange symbols that glowed faintly. It felt ancient, untouched by time, like a secret buried within the earth itself. "What is this place?" Michael whispered, wide-eyed. Eloise stepped further inside, brushing her fingers against the symbols. "I think it's a warning." Suddenly, a low growl echoed from the depths of the chamber. The shadows shifted again. They weren't alone. "Martha!" Michael's panic-stricken eyes met hers. Just then, the locket in Martha's hand flared with blinding light. It cast away darkness like the dawn fighting to rise. But beyond that shimmer, two figures emerged from shadows that clung to the walls, gleaming eyes like the ones they had faced before. The legacy must not be disturbed, one of them hissed, voice laced with venom. Martha felt the walls close in. We have to fight it. As the light from the locket brightened, she knew the truth. They were facing something far more powerful than shadows. Something hidden in their family's past, lurking and waiting for the right moment to claim them. Was this the awakening they were warned about? Would they unlock the secrets or unleash a darkness they couldn't contain? With fear clawing at her heart, she vowed they would confront whatever this was, but at what cost? What lay behind them was dangerous, and what lay ahead was uncertain. A choice loomed: fight or flee. The fight was on, but they were backed into a corner, and the shadows were closing in fast. The chamber was alive with tension as the two figures advanced, shadows swirling around them. Their eyes gleamed, cold and predatory, drawing nearer with every flicker of darkness. Martha felt the locket pulsating, an urgent heartbeat urging her forward. Together! She shouted, her voice breaking through the oppressive silence. We faced them together. Michael and Eloise stood firm beside her, hearts racing as they gripped each other as hands. The shadows writhed, coiling around them like snakes preparing to strike. Stop, one of the figures hissed, their voice dripping with malice. You disturbed the legacy, and for that you must pay. But Martha felt the surge of power within her, the locket not just an object, but a connection to her mother's history and the secrets buried deep within her family's past. It was time to reclaim that legacy, to redefine what it meant. Your legacy is rooted in fear, she fired back, her voice steady. But we're not afraid of you. We know the truth now. And the truth will set us free. The shadowy figures snarled, their forms flickering in the light that radiated from the locket. As they charged, Martha thrust it forward. A wave of energy erupted, blinding and fierce, erupting like a star being born. The figures hesitated, their eyes wide with shock as the brightness pushed back the encroaching darkness. You have no right! The male figure spat, rage twisting his features. Martha felt the locket heating up, its magic mingling with her own fear, igniting a blaze of courage. I won't let you threaten our futures. You can't control us anymore. She stepped boldly into the light, the locket flaring to life in response, illuminating the symbols around them, revealing the ancient truths embedded in the very walls. The shadows recoiled, howling as they scrambled back. You're fools to think you can fight your fate. The woman howled, her form beginning to flicker, like an old film struggling to stay alive. Eloise, emboldened, thrust out her hand. We are not tied to the sins of our ancestors. We are not you. With that, the three of them joined hands, invoking the power of the locket and the truth they had uncovered together. Light exploded around them and crashed into the shadows, the room trembling like it was caught in a tempest. No! The dark figures screamed in unison as they were consumed by the brilliance, their forms dissolving into wisps of smoke, fading back into the depths of the echoes. And just like that, silence fell once more, heavy but serene, wrapping around them like a warm blanket. The glow from the locket softened, and the symbols on the wall dimmed, yet the air felt lighter, clearer. They stood breathless, hearts racing, at the cusp of a new beginning. No longer shackled by the past. We did it, Michael murmured, staring wide-eyed at Martha. We're free? But Eloise's face was a mix of relief and concern. Not entirely. The energy unleashed here can still draw others. Martha looked down at the now dim locket in her palm. Then we must guard this, but we'll forge our path forward. The burden of their family's past was heavy, but the future was theirs to shape. They made a pact in that moment, the unbreakable bond forged by truth and love, understanding that their strength lay not in wealth or power but in bravery and unity. Together, Martha vowed, gripping Michael's hand. The door to the chamber creaked open, revealing the staircase leading back to the surface. Together, they echoed, stepping toward the light, ready to confront whatever awaited them outside. As they ascended, a new storm raged, one of hope and possibility, of determination to rewrite their legacies. They had faced the worst and emerged stronger. Emerging from the underground, Rain dripped down the window panes, echoing their triumph. Together, beneath the clearing skies, they stepped into the world, ready to reclaim not just their family's story, but to forge a new narrative grounded in resilience, love, and the refusal to be defined by fear. They turned back, taking one last look at the mansion. The echoes of pain and betrayal still lingered, but they wouldn't let it chain them any longer. Their laughter resonated, genuine this time, a promise of what was to come, a future unbound. And as they walked away, they knew they would always remember this night, a storm of past revelations transformed into a tide of hope. Now, standing at the gate of new beginnings, they felt the warmth of the sun breaking through the clouds above, and just then, the memory of shadows faded into the light. This is where their story truly began. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support, and don't wait even one more second to share. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. And flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this gripping conclusion. Instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this epic finale. Let us keep this community growing, together.